Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 106 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. So let me ask you, have you ever used the excuse or reason, I can't afford it, to pass maybe on an invitation to go somewhere or maybe even a purchase? And you might be thinking, of course. And yeah, of course, we all have, right? Especially if money is tight and you're living paycheck to paycheck, which is a life myself, Ryan, and Amber, we've all lived that life. Now, today, we're going to be flipping this saying, and today we are going to talk about why you can't afford to stay broke and living paycheck to paycheck. And here's the deal. Most people completely miss the fact that staying broke actually comes at a really high cost, and it's costing way more than you might be thinking. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad. And welcome to today's show. And also to get all the resources, show notes, or any links that we talk about here today, head over to balancesense.com/106. That's BALANCEDCENTS.com/106. So guys, today we're talking about this whole idea of, I can't afford it, and, broke having a cost. And, I think for me, it's clear as day that broke has a cost. But, I will say, when I was living paycheck to paycheck and I was broke, I was oblivious to the cost and to the effect that it was having, not only on my financial life, but really my life as a whole. And that's why I wanted to really bring this topic up today, because I think sometimes when you're struggling with your finances, you can settle a little bit. You could settle on, we're doing okay, we're getting by. But in a lot of cases, those people who are using that are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning, if that next paycheck misses, or maybe it's a couple of paychecks, maybe it's within a month, things get stressful very, very quickly. And, that has a cost to your life, the way you're living it, the way you're managing your finances. And so, the reason of today's show is really break some of these costs down and have some good discussions about it. And hopefully, for some of you who are listening to this, to hopefully wake you up a little bit and to get you out of this funk and hopefully start improving some of these things in your finances to get out of this costly way of living.
I think it's important too, when you say broke, what do we mean by that? When you say broke, because I know people, my son sells cars for a living, and I can tell you there are a lot of people who make really good money that are broke. And I think when we say broke, I think there's a connotation, or people have this assumption that when we say broke people, we think people who are maybe at a certain income level and below are broke. But I can tell you, and I think all of us can, I had payments on everything. I had a house, we had cars, we went on vacations, we bought furniture, we put everything on payments. And at the end of the day, we made our bills, but we were broke. It was stressful. And I think when we were saying broke today, that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about, hey, there's, if you make this and below, you're broke. You can make six figures or more and be completely broke.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. In fact, in my first marriage, right before we lost our house, combined income between me and my ex-wife was six figures. And we were broke. we were broke, living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this is not a number. This is not a certain income that you have to be. No, you can make some really good money and be really broke. In fact, we've had Roots members who have been on. Shannon Liardi is one of them that comes to mind. And I know Shannon won't mind me bringing her up, but she was one of our Roots members who said the same thing. She's like, I made great money. My spouse makes great money. There was no reason to be dealing with a lot of the stress that we were. And with a few simple changes in 2.5 years, they're now completely debt free. But she admits they were broke, right? Living paycheck to paycheck. And they weren't necessarily struggling. She says we weren't struggling. We could pay all of our bills. But it was just, things could have been a lot better. So, I think you bring up a good point, Ryan, for sure. So let's talk about why being broke sucks, because it does, right? It really sucks to have to miss out on fun. It really sucks when you can't afford to do something that you really want to do because you've gotten yourself into financial situations. You're making, like Ryan said, you're making payments on just about everything. And it sucks to have to live that way. Like and we're going to talk about opportunities and choices here coming up, because that is also a cost of living paycheck to paycheck. But, it sucks when you wake up one day and you're like, I would really like to do that for a living, or try something new, or go someplace different, or have different experiences. But you have given yourself no opportunity and no option to make new choices, because your entire paycheck is going to pay bills, right? And living that way, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, sucks, right? I mean, would you guys not agree, man?
This was like my whole adult life until 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the question is,
at first it was an income issue for us, but when we got income, it didn't fix anything.
Right. And the question is, would you go back?
No.
Yeah. Right. Because it sucks, right? It takes like this huge emotional toll to always struggle with money. Like, man, and I have to go back there, because in our business, I got to talk to people about this stuff. I've been where most people are. It sucks, right? So number one, right, being broke just sucks, plain and simple. That's a high cost of going throughout your life, day after day, month after month, week after week, or you know what I'm saying. It just, it sucks. Also, being broke is more expensive. I mean, if you think about it, and Ryan, you could talk a little bit about this. Obviously, you just mentioned all the payments and stuff you had. I was the same way. I'm sure, Amber, you could speak to it as well. I think we sell ourselves on, we can afford the payments, right? But what we tend to forget about is all of those payments come at a cost, right? They come with interest. And you are paying a really big penalty for not having the money to pay for the stuff that you want in your life, and you're getting this penalty called interest. And it's, for most people, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars per year that they're paying of their hard-earned income to make payments and making the financial institutions rich.
Oh yeah. We always thought like, oh, it's only $50. Oh, it's only $30, because we did the small little payments, but lots of them.
Yeah. And of course, especially when it comes to credit cards, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you let those minimum payments go, you just make the minimum payment. I mean, that interest is crushing you. Sickening. It is so expensive, right? To make those minimum payments, especially when it comes to credit cards.
I can tell you that I'm sure a certain theme park is very thrilled when we use their credit card to finance all of our vacations, because they probably got paid back 2 or 3-fold for those vacations, because it was minimum payment hell. I mean, that's just that's what we ended up in.
Yeah.
Just make the minimum payments, and we did it at, during our getting out of debt process, where you really sit down and look at it. But it's one of those things that to this day, when you asked Amber just a minute ago, would you ever go back? There's no way, because it just sends shivers down my spine when I realize how much money we just flushed down the toilet.
Yeah. But it's one of those costs when you're living paycheck to paycheck that you ignore, because you get the thing that you want.
Yep.
And you tend to ignore the high cost that you're paying for it. And again, it may not be just that one payment that one time. It's all of it combined, day after day, month after month, year after year, where it all adds up to a huge expense to live your life that way. Obviously, payment plans are typically more expensive. So examples are things like, your insurance premiums. Like if you pay monthly, in a lot of cases, not every case, but if you pay monthly, your typical insurance premium is more money per month than, say, if you paid quarterly or biannual or even annual. Like we get a significant discount when we pay cash for our insurance premiums up front for the entire year. That's awesome. When my son was in Taekwondo, same thing. We would get a discount when we paid in full for his Taekwondo for the entire 6 months or a year. But when you paid monthly, you paid a premium for that, right? The service that I actually run my entire business on, called Kajabi. In fact, you might see me wearing the Kajabi Hero sweatshirt or the Kajabi Hero hat. And by the way, if you want to run an online business, Kajabi is awesome. By the way, I make no money on that. I just love the company, right? They've really helped me build an amazing business. But like, you look at that. Like if I were to pay monthly, I pay a premium versus paying annually, where I pay at a discounted level. We love to camp, right? And if again you can't afford to pay in full, you pay a premium to pay for your camping fees monthly versus paying for them all in front in 1 year. So again, being broke, living paycheck to paycheck, it has a huge cost because you are not able to take advantage of a lot of those savings because you aren't managing your money the right way to take advantage of those savings. Also, being broke can cause a lot of financial stress. And we talk about this a lot. In fact, it's one of the main real drivers behind this business is to help people reduce financial stress. Check this out. 73% of Americans rank their finances as the number one stress in life, according to a new Capital One CreditWise survey back in 2021. This was in July. So at the time of this airing, about 6 months ago, 73%. Mental wellness, mental health, if it's not well because of your finances, that is a huge cost to not manage them well and living paycheck to paycheck. According to a Northwestern Mutual study, money also emerged as the dominant source of stress. This is just another study to prove that first one. 44%, dramatically outpacing personal relationships, 25%, and work, 18%. So again, finances is more stressful than managing your relationships and work. 54% of those people say they feel anxiety as it relates to their finances. They feel insecure, and they have fear. Those are major costs to being broke, right? This is also from a MarketWatch article. People with greater financial stress have more symptoms of depression and anxiety than those who aren't financially stressed, according to a 2013 study published in the Journal of Anxiety, Coping, and Stress. And John Hancock's data reveals that financial stress is triggering physical and psychological symptoms like anxiety and sleeplessness for roughly, man, this is staggering, 60% of the workers. That is crazy. But again, financial stress, mismanaging your money. And again, we're not trying to beat up on you here. Like we said when we introduced the show, this is a life that all three of us have lived for a very long time. And now that we are out of it, we are here to share with you that is a life that none of us want to go back to. And by taking a lot of the steps that we talk about on this show, you could easily start walking your way out. All right. It does not have to be like this all the time. What do you guys think about that?
I understand. I mean, I was there. It's crazy when you say 73% of Americans rank their finances as the number one. I mean, that is over 7 out of 10 people.
Staggering.
It's scary. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It's those percentages, but I remember feeling that way. I think though, in the middle of it, my deflection, and it's kind of, you've probably heard these sayings of, have you ever seen somebody unhappy on a jet ski? It's like, well, no, I have a great time on a jet ski, but the 98% of the time I'm not on the jet ski, I have fear and anxiety and I'm insecure and I'm fighting with my wife over my finances. And it's like, yeah, the 2% of the time we go out on the water, it's awesome. We have a great time. But then 98% of the time I'm completely miserable. It's like, is that a great trade-off? I don't know. I'm on the other side of it now. I would never make that trade-off again. We had awesome times at Disney. I have great memories. The amount of stress that caused us and all this stuff that you just talked about, if I had to do it over again, we wouldn't have made those same choices.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I can go right back to that house that brand new house that we bought after the first house that we had bought. And just a stupid decision. And I knew, and the crappy part about that and feeling that financial stress is I knew the very first payment that we sent, it was unbelievably stressful. Getting rid of a vehicle, we had to get rid of a vehicle. We had to move things around. It even became more stressful when our son Noah was born and having to pay for daycare every month. Man, not in a million years would I ever trade anything back to go back there. Again, stress, financial stress, huge cost to living paycheck to paycheck. We're going to go for the quick break, guys. We'll be back with a couple points here and then finishing up with some celebrations. Stay tuned.
Hey, if you love planners, this is for you. But do you know why planners frustrate me? Because they only really get it half right. Now, sure, they're really good and fancy about helping you manage your time, which is really important, obviously. That's what a planner's for. But where they get it wrong is money, the second most valuable resource in our lives. Most planners don't include any financial planning. Things like, keeping track of paydays, bills, due dates, spending, yearly expenses, budgets, cash flow planning, debt elimination plans, and goal planning, right? None of that stuff. That's a real pain. And then what? Then you got to create your own in some silly binder, right? And who has time for all of that stuff? So instead, what happens? Nothing, right? a lot of people tend to ignore their finances even more, and things only get worse. Well, that all ends today because I am so excited to announce and release my brand new, totally awesome Debt Freedom Planner. This thing's awesome, by the way. Now, before you say, Brad, I've already got a planner. This is not an ordinary day planner. This is the Debt Freedom Planner, which is a companion tool that works with your day planner, and it's built to help you manage your money, pay off more debt, and melt away financial stress. And I believe this is the tool that a lot of people who want to take control of their finances have been waiting for. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu to get access to your planner today.
Hey guys, we are back talking about why you can't afford to continue to stay broke. And the next point is really about your relationships. Being broke has a heavy cost on your relationship. In fact, money and personal finance and fights are one of the number one reasons for divorce in the United States is money. And guys, this was probably, I mean, this is no surprise to me. My first marriage, you know, there was a reason why that marriage ended. But money, looking back now, I know money and personal finance played a huge role. Like, we were just not on the same page. And it took a heavy toll on that relationship. So I lived that life, and I know how stressful it can be when it comes to money and not being on the same page when it comes to your money and your relationship. But I was still, even having that experience, I was still pretty shocked when I opened up this business 6 years ago and I started helping people just how many relationships struggle with the same things that I was struggling with. It was pretty frightening. I mean, how is your guys', because you guys are still with the same people, right? When you were in debt, like, I got divorced, it was over, right? that was over. But you guys are still with, you know, Amber, you're still with Paul, Ryan, you're still with Kelly. Like, what did anything change? Like, before, you know, you guys got out of debt versus now? Like, how would you guys rate your relationships? Because you guys have a true kind of before and after.
Now we're just boring. No, but we don't fight anymore. Like, what's up with that? We would argue. It was, you know, you're the one who made that debt. You made that debt. Like, we would start blaming each other when we were stuck and having to pay certain things, or we didn't have enough for this or that. And we would just blame each other for our own debt that we came into the relationship with. It's like, we both came in with crappy debt, but we would fight over it all the time.
Yep.
You know? Boring.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a huge stressor. And I will say, you know, if you're listening to this and you have a partner and you're having financial difficulties, I will 100% fall on my sword. I didn't fully appreciate the stress that it put on Kelly. Not to say it didn't bother me, but I didn't really understand. Like, there was a point when I looked back and as we started talking about money and debt, where I think she just checked out, because I just think she didn't want to deal with, like, there was a point where she was involved in paying bills and I remember slowly all of a sudden I'm like, how did I end up doing this all the time? Because I think she just kind of exited stage right, because it was just such a mess and it just caused her more stress and anxiety to deal with it. So it was just like, just not deal with it. And so I would say to anybody, if you're sitting here saying, yeah, I don't think we have financial issues, you're probably like me. You just don't think you do, or you're not appreciating the stress that, like, if you go talk to that person, you might find out, like, oh my God, I want to talk about this. Because once we started talking about it, that's when we both really got together. But now, yeah, I would say, like, I'm like with Amber, it's just not a, I can't tell you. I would say the things we argue about now is, like, you recently, Brad, I sent you pictures where I kind of did some work to my truck. I wouldn't say argue, but it's like, you want to do what to your truck? Like, it's more of that. And, like, I got to sell it now. It's not really fighting like we don't have the money. We have the money.
Right.
But
it's just
now
getting her to buy
like Right.
Yeah.
It's like selling each other's things that we want to do more
Yeah.
than it is like, we can't afford it and I'm going to put it on a credit card.
I say that to Paul all the time. I'm like, you want to buy another 3D printer? What?
Yeah, I mean, I think the people who are probably listening to this show are the people who are probably feeling that stress, though. In fact, there's a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of partners that I talk to that their partner doesn't even they're oblivious to their financial challenges. They're not responsible for it. They don't want to be responsible for it. They don't want to talk about it. And a lot of them just brush it off and say, "Oh, you just handle it. Or you just deal with it." Which is a complete cop-out, by the way. but for those of you who are listening to this, who are struggling with your spouse and partner, just know that you're not alone. You would not believe how many people I work with that this is a struggle. It was a struggle in my own life, right? So the key to it is getting the appropriate help to work through that and to figure out how the two of you can get on the same page. We do have some great resources. If you are one of those individuals, head over to the website, balancesense.com or therealdebtfreedad.com. Lots of great stuff there to hopefully get you at least started, and more resources to come if you're interested. Also, being broke has a cost on your career. Believe it or not, it actually has a cost on your career. So check this out. Money stress is causing a lot of work problems. Financial stress leads to being less productive and focused at work, which leads to less productivity. Report from Salary Finance and MotleyFool.com, 42% of workers worry about their finances throughout the day. They say workers are 9 times more likely to let their money concerns affect their quality of work, 9 times more likely to have difficult relationships with their coworkers, and twice as likely to always be looking for a new job, right? So here's the thing I will tell you about what I have noticed, or a correlation of those people who go through Roots and income and job. As people's finances improve, and I don't have statistics on this, and Amber, you're in Roots. I mean, you see this all the time too. In fact, it's happened to your husband, Paul. But when I find it all the time, when you start taking care of your money, it's amazing how much more money you get to manage. And I see it all the time. And I think reading this statistic and seeing this statistic, there's no mistake on why this happens. When you reduce financial stress, it gives you more brain power and ability to focus on the work that you're doing at work, right? Which only improves your production. It improves how well you work at work, right? Which only is going to lead to what? Possible future raises, bonuses, getting, an advancement, or all of those things. Like, it only leads to more money. And we see it all the time in Roots. People get raises, or people who get they get promoted. I mean, there's so many different examples that I could share inside Roots that we've seen. People start new jobs, new careers that make more money. We see it all the time. So again, it may be easy just to kind of brush off and say, it's not affecting my work. But I guarantee you, it more than likely is affecting it to some degree.
Well, and I think from a career standpoint too, you have to look at it as, the way we're structured is you graduate high school, you potentially go to college, and then you get a job and you get experience and you make more money and you get experience and you make more money. And then for most people, we build our lives around a salary as we keep making more money. We don't say like, hey, let's make, what we were making when I started and let's live off that. We continually up our lifestyle. So then you realize maybe 10 or 15 years into your career, I really hate doing this. I don't love this at all, but now you're stuck.
Yeah.
And so you have all these payments, and it's like, so then you say, like you said, most are looking for a new job. What are you looking for a new job for? What you already hate doing, thinking if I just make more money somewhere else, all my worries are going to go away. But you get to that new job and you hate that too, because you made a little bit more money, but you're still stuck doing work you don't love and you're not passionate about. And so for me, your personal finances take away your choices. And it's like when you don't have choice, and for me, this is what I found is the most empowering part of being out of debt is choice, is the ability to choose what you want to do, when you want to do it. If you want to do it, you don't have this pressure of, I got to do it because I got to make these payments. And I think it leads back to what you just said. You find a passion, you get into maybe a different job that you do love, and that leads to better work, better promotions, because now you're doing work you actually love doing, not stuck doing something you hate.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I would totally agree. This is probably the biggest payoff of becoming debt free and taking control of my finances is having the freedom of being able to make choices and having different opportunities. Like, and Sarah and I, we continue to make choices and decisions that free up future opportunity, right? Like, so for instance, like we wanted to create businesses in our lives that weren't time driven. Like in this business, I don't have to always work 50, 60 hours a week. Like there are some weeks I could get by working, 10, 15 hours if I really wanted to. We've created such a life when it comes to our businesses that we could even open up another business if we really wanted to. So if we ever had like an idea or something that we wanted to try out, we have the freedom and opportunity, and our finances are in a place where we could probably welcome in some new ideas to create new income and do different things. I could tell you when I was broke, I had none of those opportunities. In fact, if I would have kept living the way that I was living, I would have never been able to open the business that I now run and do completely full time. Like it just never would have happened. And again, I never thought it would have led to where it led, like getting out of debt. I never thought it was going to lead to where I am today, but here it is. And the reality is why it is because when you take control of your finances, it frees up those choices and opportunities to make new choices and to create different opportunities. And again, some of them you're just never going to suspect. And we see this with a lot of our Roots members too. Starting new jobs, opening up new businesses. It's awesome. It's amazing. And this is one of the greatest payoffs of it.
Oh yeah, choice and opportunity. That's what has me jacked. Like from the time we got paid off all our debt and stuff, I was like, wow, this just opened a ton of doors.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that is a big cost though. Like when you are living paycheck to paycheck, being broke is going to limit your choices and your opportunities. So here's the good news though. Here is the good news in all of this. Because you might be listening to this show and be like, yuck, I'm not feeling so good, right? But here's the reality. For the overall majority of the people, 73% that are stressed about their finances, the 78% of people who live paycheck to paycheck, according to careerbuilder.com, the overall majority of those people have 100% control and they can change it, right? You have all of the opportunity to change it and to fix it. Yes, it's going to be hard work. No, it's not going to be easy, but I can promise you that it's totally possible. And I got to share a story, guys. I'm going to open up and can't believe I'm going to share this on the podcast, but all right. So I went to the dentist back in September, back in 2021. And admittedly, I've never been someone who regularly flosses their teeth. I know. Yuck, right? But listen to this. 70% of people don't floss daily. So I'm with the majority. 70%. So if you're listening to this, I bet you don't floss either, right? But seriously. So I've always been really good with dental health. I've never had any major issues. In fact, prior to September, I've only had one cavity my entire life. That's it. One. And it was tiny. And it was back when I think it was like 20. Other than that, I've never had any issues. I've had braces when I was little, but I've always been blessed with having some pretty healthy teeth. Well, I go to the dentist in September. Got a new dentist because my current dentist, we were getting ready to retire, and we just needed to make a switch just based on location. Long story. Anyways, so I go to the dentist, and he's like, goes through, does all of his stuff, and at the end, he starts giving me coaching. He's like, all right, Brad. He's like, your teeth weren't that bad, but he's like, I'm telling you, at 42 years old, you need to start making some changes now, or there are going to be some major problems for you in your future. And he's like, and I want to tell you, and he looked at me straight in the face. He's like, you are 100% responsible on whether or not you continue to have problems or you fix them. He's like, it won't be anybody else's fault but yours. So he's like, after today, here's how you need to brush your teeth. He coached me on how to rebrush my teeth. He was very nice about it. I mean, he's very nice about it. He's very nice about it. He's like, and he did say, he's like, I'm not trying to be mean. He's like, I just really want you to have good health, like good dental health. Like this, you might say you do, but you really don't. He's like, and you got to make sure you start flossing every day. He's like, it is the number one reason of gum disease, and people are 100% responsible for preventing it from happening. He's like, just floss every day, and you won't have any problems with it. He's like, just keep getting your cleanings, you'll be fine. He's like, but again, you are 100% responsible. So I want to take my dental story and apply it to your finances if you're listening to this, because I'm serious. You are 100% responsible for staying broke or ending that life. You are 100% responsible. You have everything that you need to get started. The only thing you got to do is just get started. And I am happy to say, since that day, I have flossed every single day. And I have brushed the way he has taught me. And I can't wait to go back in there in just 3 months and show him that I can do this. But seriously.
And that's where that accountability comes into play.
Exactly. That is where that accountability comes into play. Absolutely, right? Because I know I'm going to have to go back into that dentist and he's going to have to tell me this story all over again. I was like, no, not this time. I'm changing it because I don't want that talk ever again, right? And it's the same thing when it goes to your finances. Like, seriously, guys, there is no reason why you can't do what Ryan, Amber, and myself have done. You just got to get started, work the stuff that we talk about on this podcast, and you don't have to live this broke, expensive lifestyle any longer.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right. That means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And today we are kicking it off with Cindy Hanna, which, by the way, Cindy is going to be on our podcast next episode, sharing her amazing journey in Roots Personal Finance. But Cindy's celebration is celebrating this one for sure. Unexpected truck repair was completed and paid for with cash, and an actual discussion about the upcoming purchase with her spouse and partner, and the decision to wait 6 months to address it again, which was a huge win for her. Congratulations to you, Cindy, for having those discussions.
Brandon Belger, I totaled up what we paid off since joining, and we are almost $40,000 paid off.
That is incredible. About 18 months. Brandon and Sarah Belger joined Roots Personal Finance. They were actually on our podcast. I think it was like 53 or 54 episode. $40,000 paid off in 18 months, and they bought their house. Incredible. That is awesome. Congratulations to you guys.
Lacey Love, my win this week is I realized how much I am enjoying how I feel, not at all stressed for Christmas this year. After putting money aside all year and being able to shop without the worry that I'm going into debt. And I have to say, like, for me, I remember when we did this, and I've shared this on the podcast before, my wife, Kelly, just hated Christmas because we just always were going into debt. And I remember this feeling of that first time when we paid cash. And my wife now, she loves Christmas. Yep. Because that feeling of debt is gone. So that is an awesome win. Yep.
It absolutely is. And again, why I put that in here, I know it's mid-January and the last thing you want to think about is Christmas, but the way you make a not stressful Christmas is right now, is starting in January, putting that money aside every month and make it a habit. And I guarantee you the holidays will be less stressful. So congratulations to Lacey. Jennifer Foster, I bought things at the store and did not sign up for the store credit card, which is awesome. I went to a different store and put 5 things in my cart. I put them all back. But then the next day I went back and I at least just bought one of those items, which is awesome. I love that Jennifer is going through the wants versus needs and she's analyzing those purchases. It is so easy just to impulse purchase and buy. And then that stuff sits and you don't use it. So great win, Jennifer.
Pizza Caramelangos, a year gone without using the credit card and seeing the credit decrease and the cash increase from using my talent to create and sell.
That is an amazing win, Pizza. Congratulations.
Katie Hatfield, got my quarterly bonus and treated myself to some things I've put off all year because I was crushing debt, including my first vacation paid fully in cash. For my birthday in January, officially paid off $75,053 in debt since July of 2018 and $2,200 in savings after rebuilding my emergency fund over and over and over.
That is incredible. And on a single income, mind you. So in just 3.5 years, $75,000 paid off. There's an example of today. Someone who stepped up and say no more to the expensive cost of being broke. Huge win, Katie. Congratulations. So again, guys, to get all the resources and show notes for today's show and links, head over to balancencents.com/106. Again, that's BALANCEDCENTS.com/106.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback on this video. And if you want the latest from the show, obviously be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And for the latest resources, or if you want more information on how to kick debt and financial stress, please be sure to check out the links in this video or head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show. Take care.